Hello everyone and welcome back to another 1/6 scale unboxing video. Today will be the InArt Joker. This is an absolute monstrosity of a box. So I'm not going to blabble and ramble too much about the intro because I think everyone and their mum at this point has reviewed this figure. I was the one that got obviously the later batch here. But the box is pretty standard, simple. Got like a chrome metallic look. So I'm not even going to ramble anymore. I'm going to go straight into it. So if you guys do enjoy this, make sure you like and sub. And we'll get to unboxing. So we've got the gel cell diorama right here, and this is probably the price of admission, this whole display base. The fact that this is real wood material and majority of the die cast parts are die cast is a massive win. And obviously the head sculpt is amazing too. And yeah, I don't see any real big flaws. Maybe a annoyance would be actually popping the head sculpt on, where you have to mess around with stuff. I will advise that this is your friend. Bit of tweezers. And I've seen some people have an issue with the actual hair. Maybe just get a brush and just brush it down. I didn't have that problem, but I did have this on standby just in case there were going to be some problems with the hair. But as you can see here with mine, I think mine's pretty spot on, and because it comes in those capsules, it's a bit more secure. So I don't know how people getting theirs more messed up, but aside from fixing that collar, which you can see it's a bit uneven here, I need to probably fix it up a bit, and I'll mess around with it after the video. Aside from that, it's such a small problem that is that really going to deduct points off people? I don't know, but this is... I can't stress this enough that this is an absolute killer of a figure for, especially their first produced figure. I also find it kind of funny that the first InArt figure is obviously the Joker, and my first two Hot Toy figures were the DX11 and the Elder Predator 2.0. So it's a nice kind of like turnaround where my introduction to InArt basically was from this. And then obviously we're getting future stuff, but I find it kind of bittersweet that another company and another new experience is with this character once again, and I just feel that excitement all over again compared to the DX11. Obviously that's a figure of its age. I've heard some people kind of complain that it should not be compared to this, but I think Hot Toys DX08 is obviously older than the Heath Ledger they did, and I think it's far more better than that figure, and it's probably on par with this. It's my favourite Hot Toy, so I think it is fair to compare. But, you know, everyone's got their own opinions. But yeah, what I'm going to do now is, as always, I'll quickly just take screen grabs of the inspiration of this pose. Obviously, a lot of people are going to do the hands like this or the hands on the lap. I kind of like the behind the scenes photo based on this pose. And what I'm going to do next is get the other display base with the magnetized circle and bring the purple coat out. And here's the purple coat suit on just the regular circular base. Just quickly touching on the circular base as well, I've heard also people kind of have issues with the magnetized legs. The kind of middle tile here on the ends of the tile is basically where the magnets are. I personally believe for the future the whole base should be a big circle magnet, but for this particular release it's here and here, and if you do have it anywhere else it's going to topple over and it's not going to be very safe. I don't know if you can just see there, but I've got the Bela Lugosi Dracula from Classic Plastic, and it's got a very similar base with specific magnets pointed in the actual display base, and mine hasn't toppled over at all since I've purchased it, and this feels just as sturdy. So maybe it's just people not familiar with how to pop it on a magnetized base, but I've had no problems thus far with that. Although I will say I've had a issue that I feel might happen in the future when it comes to displaying weapons on the hands. I feel they're not as strong enough or as strong as they should be, so I've just opted to go with the knife and have the kind of... I think it's the first photo I remember seeing as a kid from Heath Ledger's promotional shots, and I'll pop it up now, what I'm talking about. But yeah, just because I'm a bit nervous having full, you know, these are full die cast metal. This is probably a bit safer, but that machine gun I do not trust, just because the magnet and the peg joint is just not as strong enough. Maybe it's just me being a bit paranoid, but that's probably the only issue I have with this version. But other than that, you know, the head sculpt is really, really good. This one's much more sinister compared to the other one. And just like the other one, the hair came out perfect. So maybe the people experiencing a bit frizzy hair were the unlucky bunch. I have no clue, because mine's turned out pretty good, as you can see here. And yeah, I've hunched him over a bit too. But yeah, the purple coat is really, really good. Much better than the bathrobe that Hot Toys brought out. Which is weird because the DX01 was pretty good. On par with this when it comes to the weathering and all that. So I have no idea why they changed so drastically with the DX11. But yeah, this one's really, really good. And also, I've seen the sculpted one. Not in hand, I've seen pictures of that one. I would not be upset if I got that one too, because I think both versions or any options were pretty good to choose upon. And yeah, what I'm going to do now is bring both of them up and give my final thoughts. So we've got both Purple Suit and Gel Cell Diorama. Overall, I really, really like these. I'll also add now here, before I forget, I think visually 10 out of 10, but there are some flaws that will set you back. So for example, the collar fixing and all that might be a bit of an issue for people. The hair as well. Mine is perfect on both, but I have seen some issues with other people's. Also, I didn't mention as well, but you got one trigger finger hand, but you don't have a magazine grip, so you can't have him posing the gun. And I'll put the photo reference up now. Right before the hit me scene, he's kind of holding the gun and shooting. People on the street, cars and etc. You can't pose it like that. That was going to be my preferred choice, but I'm now opted to do this just because I feel having one arm solely holding that big metal gun is not really safe. So there are some setbacks, but I think for a first attempt, this again is insane. And if they learn from these little problems, InArt will become a flawless company if they do generally learn from some of the nitpicks. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Again, I didn't want to ramble too on with this because again, so many people have already gotten this in hand before me. And it just becomes a bit too repetitive and redundant at that point. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. If you guys did enjoy this, make sure you like and sub. And I'll see you in the next one.